Good evening. Good evening. Okay, let me just be honest with you. My alarm clock went off at 1:50 this morning. I arrived at work at 3 a.m. I anchored the 4 o'clock news for 1 hour alone on NBC 10, then another 2 hours leading into today's show, then another 2 hours after that on NECN. So if I have energy right now, you have energy right now. Let's start that again. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Yes, that's how we're going to do it this evening. Well, my name is LaToya Edwards, your morning anchor for NBC 10 Boston, and I'm your host for the evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Trinity Boston Connect's 16th annual Bostonians Youth Gala. Aren't you so happy to be here? I'm clearly overjoyed. I get to be your guide for the evening. And let me make some promises to you right now. I promise a magical night. I promise this program that they put together, shout out to Sheila and Charmaine, they planned something that will touch your heart. It'll be moving, it'll be emotional, and it'll inspire you to take action. And I will do my part to keep the energy up, but you have to do your part too, clearly. So you have to be interactive, and I invite you to invest yourself in some really cool interactive things that we're gonna do a little bit later on. So forget it's a Thursday night. Forget that you just left work, probably. Thursday is the new Saturday night in Boston, okay? Ignore those kids who are texting you right now at home. Forget them. Let them figure it out themselves. Okay, so I want to warm you up right now with a little hand clap exercise. If you've ever seen me MC something, I know you're eating your something. Just put it down for a second. You're for it. So don't worry. You do not have to have rhythm. Just you have to be able to follow directions, okay? But it'll get you in the mood here. So if you feel grateful that after 3 long years of this pandemic, we are finally able to be in person in this celebration, in this gorgeous hotel with these wonderful people all around us, eating a delicious and nutritious meal and have good conversation. If you're grateful for the awesome people gathered in this room and the promise of a beautiful and meaningful program on tap, if you're grateful for it all, clap your hands one time. You're good. All right. If you are a champion of the amazing children that call Massachusetts home, if when you look at these children, you see what I see, which they are gems not yet harvested. If you see Massachusetts children as valuable and worthy and deserving of a bright future, if you champion our children, then clap your hands 2 times. Excellent. Okay, last one. And finally, if you are excited about the noble mission of Trinity Boston Connects to coordinate people, programs, and practices to heal the trauma, the impact of systemic racism on youth of color in Boston, if you respect the fact that Trinity Boston Connects is truly unafraid in their mission and the name of our children, then join me right now. Forget who you're sitting next to. Get loud, get rowdy, get uproarious, clamoring. Give them a resounding round of applause. Now that's how we start an event. Now it says in my script, please enjoy your salads, but I see you're enjoying your salads, so okay, we'll skip that part. The theme of this evening is so great. It's healing for an equitable Boston in a beloved community, and I just love that term. You're gonna hear that throughout this evening. And it says right now, I want to say, okay, well, you may say, LaToya, why are you so wild for Trinity Boston Connects? And I have to tell you that if you visit their website, you'll know for yourself. But my story is very personally aligned with theirs and my experience growing up in Boston. I grew up in Boston's Dorchester neighborhood. I'm the oldest sister of 4 brothers and 4 sisters. As a matter of fact, today is my youngest sister's birthday. Or should I say, it would have been her 31st birthday. She died in February of this year after a long and vicious and scarring battle with mental health issues and challenges. The services available to her as a kid were scarce, they were flawed, and they were systemically racist. If we had known or had access to services like TBC, Ari, I believe, might be here today. As a matter of fact, I looked at TBC's website many times, And I saw a calling out for young people of color just today struggling with mental health challenges to sign up for services. They're literally doing the outreach. And I said to myself, wow, I wish Ari had TBC, because TBC has 3 essential core parts to it. They employ racial equity, trauma, inclusive care, and they have restorative justice to heal our kids. So when we ask you tonight, and I know you've been hit up for money plenty of times at events, to reinvest tonight, you may say, well, how do I know that the investments will work? And let me tell you how I know. Despite my parents being born teenagers, my mom was 16 and 17, and me being born in a housing project in Dorchester called Columbia Point, now it's Harbor Point, I was lucky to have access to beloved community like all of you who are sitting in this room tonight. Generous people like you who did not know my name or personal story but raised money for programs for youth of color in the city of Boston. It taught me that I could dream, even though I lived in the quote-unquote hood, to be a TV journalist, that it was okay. I could dream of being named, and I have some show and tell for you. I could dream My husband says I'm crazy because I always bring luggage, sorry. I could dream of being named to the 150 most influential Bostonians. I could dream of representing the state of Massachusetts in the Miss USA pageant. And I could not dream, but people told me I could, so it was okay. I never knew that I could earn an Edward R. Murrow Award and an Emmy Award. And so, now, I'm not telling you this to brag, believe me, I'm not. I'm showing what is possible when you invest tonight in TBC's amazing vision for our children. When you embrace your membership in their core mission of beloved community, you will make a difference. Remember, I'm your cousin now. When you see me on the news Monday morning, you'll say, well, that's what I was up to, okay? So please buy into this and join me one more time right now in giving TBC the round of applause that they deserve. So my birthday is actually tomorrow, and for the first time, I only say that because now I need to wear glasses for the first time. So these are my reading glasses I got for my birthday. So I have to read something. So I want to let you know what you're going to be dealing with, what you're going to experience tonight. And I've done so many events, but I've never seen some of the things they have coming up, and I'm so excited to see this for myself. Let me put my glasses on. Hold on. They're a little loose. Dude, I feel like I look like my mom, so thank you so much. I have to hold them, they have to be tightened. I really just got them. So part of the things you'll enjoy tonight, as a way of engaging you in the community tonight, you will have an opportunity just prior to dinner to get a feel for a restorative community circle experience. I mean, I've never seen it. And who knows, perhaps that may prompt some interesting dinner conversation. Also, after a delicious dinner and dessert menu outlined in your information, you'll get an invitation for support. And what I love about today in TBC's program and its Bostonians for Youth Gala is the awarding of the Leader of Change Award. Past recipients have had and continue to have a true impact on forwarding racial healing, and this year is no exception. It's weird because Boston is so small, but you know this man, our awardee this evening, Imari Paris Jeffries, is outstanding in every way. He deserves so much praise. You'll hear more about him later on. I literally saw him at my station earlier. I said, hey, what are you doing here? And he was doing interviews, and he was getting ready for the Embrace Festival that you'll learn about coming up a little later on. But he is everywhere, and he never says no, and he always shows up for the city of Boston. So we're just so excited to celebrate you, Amari, this evening. All right, so remember I told you that you have some work to do as well. This is interactive. And this evening we have a goal to raise a minimum of $115,000 to reach an event goal of $425,000 to support TBC's amazing program. So thank you to the generous sponsors. We love you so much, and supporters who've already allowed us to reach 73% of our goal so far. So now, you're saying, well, I have my salad in front of me. What am I supposed to do, LaToya? How am I supposed to get this money? Well, if you're cool, unlike me, you'll know how to do all this texting stuff. I have to call my 16-year-old daughter. Okay, so you have to text the keyword, and we have a graphic for you to follow along, BFY 2023 to 44321. BFY 2023 to 44321 on your mobile device. But if texting's not your thing, like it's not mine, let's do the old-fashioned way. You have envelopes. Maybe you have some checks actually in your wallet. Isn't that so old school? And you write a check and put it in the donation box at your table. Maybe put straight cash. We will accept it all. Coins, okay? We just want to get to our goal of $425,000, so please help us do that. Okay. Also, the event brochure, and you have that. Use it as your guide to make payments. Maybe you're just like, you know what, LaToya, I'm going to eat my salad. Use your brochure a little later on. Thank you, sir. What is your name, sir, right here? Is it Gordon? Hey, Gordon, you're handsome. I appreciate you for grabbing that brochure. You must have got A's in your class because you heard me and you listened and you did it. Thank you. I look forward to you giving us the rest of the money, $115,000. Thank you. Gordon, thank you. He's the best. All right, enough of me talking right now. You will hear two dynamos in this struggle that we've been talking about. Debbie Johnson, who is on the board of directors and is outstanding. Debbie will come up a little later on this evening. And the very Reverend Dr. Michael Battle will also be on stage this evening doing this circle work that we've been talking about. But first, a heartfelt message directly to you from the face, and some say the heart of Massachusetts, a person who tried really hard to be at this event this evening with you, but her schedule is absolutely bonkers. So she couldn't be here, yet she still wanted to connect with you. Please turn your attention right now to Governor Maura Healey.
Hi everyone, it's Governor Maura Healey. Congratulations to Trinity Boston Connects on your 16th Bostonians for Youth Gala. A big shout out to Charmaine Higgins and everyone at TBC for everything you do for young people and adults who support them, especially the Trinity at McCormick team, including Sophia Brian Meisels and Adina Davidson. You've shown us how we can build a loving community focused on healing and inclusion. Your vision of Boston as a city where all of our kids can grow and thrive and heal is a vision for all of Massachusetts. Which brings me to this year's theme, beloved community. I'm so glad that you're honoring Amari Paris Jeffries with the Leader of Change Award tonight. Every time I walk by the Embrace, I reflect on the lessons of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. To quote Dr. King, creating the beloved community will require a, quote, qualitative change in our souls and a quantitative change in our lives. To address centuries of systemic racism, we all need to dig deep and act with intentionality. Our administration is putting equity at the center of everything we do. Across every agency, every board and commission, and all of our departments, we're taking a hard look at who can access the services we provide. We want to make sure everyone has a seat at the table. Our cabinet is one of the most diverse cabinets in Massachusetts history. And Lieutenant Governor Driscoll and I are working closely with our Black Empowerment Council and our Latino Empowerment Council to identify inequities and expand opportunity in all of our communities. It will take all of us to remedy the harm caused by systemic racism, but we're lucky to have organizations like TBC as partners in that work. Together, we will build a more just and equitable Boston, Massachusetts, and world for our young people. Thank you so much for having me, and enjoy the rest of the gala.
Creating a beloved community will require qualitative change in our souls and quantitative change in our lives. Governor Healy, I could not have said it any better myself. Good evening, my name is Debbie Johnson, and I have the distinct honor of being one of the co-chairs of this event, along with Eric Arcese, and I am also proudly serving as the vice chair of TBC's Boston Connects Board of Directors. On behalf of the board and host committee, I'd like to thank you for choosing to join our committee tonight as we recognize our city's young people, celebrate their accomplishments, and progress towards a healed and equitable Boston together. One of the many women in history who have always wowed me was the anthropologist Margaret Mead, but I disagree with her on one of her most famous quotes. She said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." Margaret was onto something here, but I actually think it's unrealistic to believe a small group can change the entire world. What I do believe is that through diligent effort and consistent support, we can change our community. Our communities start in our homes, schools, workplace, or places of worship. If done right, changes in these small communities can spread to encompass districts, towns, cities, and subsequently states. Change must start somewhere, and at TBC, we believe here in Boston, it starts with us. You, me, and those who have committed to supporting young people of color and the adults who serve them. As our host said, TBC is committed to a mission of healing, empowering 3 essential community practices: racial equity, trauma-inclusive care, and restorative justice. We know our individual efforts are only amplified when we lean into each other. I'm hoping for 3 things tonight. First, that as we invite you into our beloved community, TBC's mission resonates with you and inspires you to actively engage in what we do. 2, you understand restorative justice better so that you might tune into and impact the public discourse around it. 3, more than anything, that you choose to actively support TBC's mission by financially contributing this evening and personally engaging in ongoing racial equity learning and advocacy. Our mission boldly focuses on youth of color and the attainment of racial equity through healing and empowerment, not only for young people, but the adults and organizations who serve them. I passionately believe that TBC's strong systemic model can help move the needle towards a more equitable Boston. If something said tonight resonates with you, text. If there's a need you think you'd like to support, grab a giving envelope. That is ultimately why we are gathered here tonight, so please, choose to support our community and be a part of the healing change we know can come. Now it is my distinct honor to introduce the Very Reverend Dr. Michael Battle, an eminent scholar and theologian in the field of restorative justice. Reverend Battle wears many hats, including internationally renowned author, director of the Desmond Tutu Center in New York City, and theologian in community at Trinity Church here in Boston. He has dedicated his life to restoration and healing and has a great deal of wisdom to share with us this evening. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Battle.
Thank you, Debbie. You know, it's dangerous to have a clergy person speak at a gala like this. because we talk too much. It reminds me of a humorous, quick story of a preacher at a church, and there was something wrong with the microphone, and he was knocking on it. He said, "There's something wrong with this," and the congregation said, "And also with you." So, what an honor to be with you. So I'm going to stay with the script. I'm going to defy the stereotype of clergy. A little bit about who I am and why I'm here. Most of my vocation as a theologian and as an Episcopal priest started when I witnessed my friends fighting in the hallway of Carnage Middle School. Just the very name of the school is starting off wrong. This was in Raleigh, North Carolina. It was the first time that I realized the toll of violence in my black neighborhood in which I grew up. And I had an epiphany that I would grow up because of this exposure to seeing human beings behave like animals. I had an epiphany at that very moment that I would either be the Speaker of the House in the U.S. Congress or a theologian. Quite a choice, wouldn't you say? And to make a long story short, I chose to pursue the spiritual path of theologian and Episcopal priest. Even living with Archbishop Desmond Tutu in 1993 and 1994. And through my storied vocation, I'm honored now to be theologian in community at Trinity Church, Boston. Yeah. And privy to the wonderful work of Trinity Boston Connects. Yes. And that's the reason we're here tonight. More specifically to the task at hand, I would like you to experience briefly one of the most spectacular practices at Trinity Boston Connects. Because to me, Trinity Boston Connects uses this tool of restorative justice to address the toll of trauma resulting from the racism and violence wreaking havoc in our world today. This practice is restorative justice, which seeks to disrupt the harm done by trauma and violence and to restore us to a shared humanity. And I learned this firsthand from my South Africa experience, in which South Africa showed the world one of the greatest experiments of restorative justice on a nation-state level. Rather than fanning the flame of cycles of violence, Archbishop Desmond Tutu and others bravely sought a measure in which diverse people could discover a common identity, namely South African. That is no small feat. It is a miracle in which historically peoples were groomed to be at odds with each other, and they discovered a common identity of South African. Many people thought this was impossible. Well, Trinity Boston Connects also is doing the impossible by implementing restorative justice circles in which restorative justice is practiced, not dreamed about, not simply talked about, but actually done, so as to achieve the same goal of outcomes that we have experienced in the miracle of South Africa. Restorative justice is not just possible for a nation state. It's not just possible for international communities. It's not just possible for those who are not us. It is possible here and now in our local communities. Restorative justice is practical and sets the stage for authentic conversations among those who seldom speak truthfully to each other. In so doing, transformation can occur, and cycles of violence can recycle and become healing pathways toward community and flourishing lives. And this is why Trinity Boston Connects matters. It is an organization that believes in facing what can seem impossible, creating beloved communities that uphold the dignity and worth not just of some, but for everyone. It practices what many think could never happen: restoration of human dignity. And not just this on a theoretical level, but trying to see how this occurs in our schools and in our communities. So, tonight you will learn about how Trinity Boston Connects focuses on restorative justice and focuses on circle groups that can support communities that can uphold the youth and their voice, can uphold the value of connection among people who would naturally be disparate and at odds, and also can create space for honest dialogue. Here is an example of what I am talking about, and I want you to please pay close attention because I'm going to ask us to practice restorative justice through a community circle. And here's the clip. Please pay close attention.
There could be conflicts that adults don't know, and some students don't like expressing themselves. Adults need to try to give students space sometimes, and then maybe talk to an adult after that.
Adults need to realize what they went through in school is not what you students are going through right now. It's a completely different world. I think adults really need to listen.
I think adults need to understand that it's okay to make mistakes. A lot of adults in the building hold us to high standards, so when we make a mistake, it's unacceptable and we have to fix it right away.
I know many of you thought that you would just come here and have dinner and be anonymous, voyeuristic. But I'd like for you to do some work, to honestly discuss issues that are important to us and discuss harm when it happens in real time. A community must first build relationships that help a community understand and trust one another. Community circles, which is a well-known practice in restorative justice, helps build the trust needed and are it's a first step in creating a community built on restorative values rather than an eye for an eye or retributive justice. Restorative justice is different. And I would like for us now to practice this difference. I would like for us to practice restorative justice in a mini version of a community circle at our tables. So nobody get up, you can't walk away. The goal is to get a feel for the basic elements of a community circle or the practice of restorative justice, to get a feel for the purpose of restorative justice. So in the circle, we often ask questions that invite all perspectives and experiences and all voices to be heard. And we hope the question that you are about to receive will be an opening question for conversation that inspires understanding and connection. I'd like to call your attention to the screen, which has guidelines for your table circle practice of restorative justice. You will notice on the screen that I'd like for you, if possible, to speak from your heart, given the time and the limitations of time, to speak honestly and listen from your heart without judgment. Only the person holding the crystal, if you can see this crystal, it looks like it comes from the moon. It's a crystal here. Only the person holding the crystal talking piece has the privilege to speak. Those who do not have the talking piece have the privilege to listen. And when the person speaking is done, that person can pass this talking piece to your right. This is totally voluntary, of course. And you have the option to pass, and you have the option to respond in a way that is authentic to you and your circumstances. So what's said in your table stays in your circle. It stays at your table. So what I'd like for you to do is to understand that the circle keeper you will have to help facilitate the discussion will be at your table at the start, will identify themselves, and will help get this conversation going. So here's the question that I'd like for you to discuss at your tables. What's something you wish adults had understood more when you were in middle school and high school? What's something you wish adults had understood more when you were in middle school and high school? The circle keeper, the facilitators at each of your tables will begin the process for the conversation, will help to facilitate the answers given to this question, and hopefully you will get a taste of why restorative justice circle groups matter in our world today. Our whole time frame for this, and this is the reason why it's dangerous to have a clergy person speaking, the whole time frame at your tables will be 8 to 9 minutes, and then I will be the sort of timekeeper keeping you accountable as we go along. So please begin. Just a quick word before. This is nice that you want to keep talking, but just a quick word. Thank you for engaging in this conversation. Hopefully you are catching a glimpse of how an aggregate of individuals can morph into a community. Thank you for engaging in this exercise, and instead of this presentation only being theoretical, our goal is to have you experience how a restorative justice community circle practices, always moving from a crowd to a community, practices how we can know each other better, and practices how we can become more curious of belonging to a community. And as with all deep change, it takes time, so I know we didn't have enough time. The hope is that over time, being in a circle could help us see each other differently, equally, and interconnected. And later tonight, you will see how Trinity Boston Connects is employing these practices within our school organization. Thank you so much.
Please join me in giving Debbie and Reverend Battle a big round of applause. We appreciate all you've done and what you continue to do. You both have certainly given us much to consider as we move into dinner and dessert. I hope you all enjoyed your conversations and continue them. TBC is fortunate to have you as active members of this beloved community. Now, after dinner, just to let you know, I'll be your guide again. We will begin the mission segment of the evening, beginning with TBC's Executive Director, the wonderful, the indomitable Charmaine Higgins. We love you. As the salad plates were just cleared and they're about to bring you out dinner, and I always like, here they are looking wonderful and so efficient. We want to extend much gratitude. Number one, shout out your wait staff right now. We appreciate you. They do the hard work and they do it well. We want to extend much gratitude to the incredible team from the Fairmont Copley for collaborating with TBC directly to create this warm and welcoming gala experience. A special shout out to the amazing management and staff here at the Fairmont Copley who are not only working behind the scenes and graciously serving us tonight, but also, did you know they're committed as an organization in their own journey toward racial equity? Our special thanks to Chef Zaid Khan for customizing this delectable menu, to Lindsay Picciano for directing this special event, and the professional staff serving us tonight, many of whom have been with Fairmont for decades. Fairmont is truly committed to forwarding diversity, equity, and inclusion, for upholding TBC as a nonprofit squarely focused on racial equity in Boston. And I like to shout out businesses who seek us out, and I like to remember when I'm gonna stay somewhere, well, hey, they bought into this mission. So next time you need to have a moment away from the kids, you think about the Fairmont Copley. All right, enjoy your meal. I'll be back in a little bit. Enjoy.
Good evening, everyone. It's so wonderful to see you here again. You all look even more beautiful and more handsome this year than you did last year. You really do, you really do. So good evening again. We are delighted to have you here at our 16th annual Bostonians for Youth Healing for an Equitable Boston Gala. Thank you to our generous event sponsors, our board of directors, our board of visitors, Trinity Church in the city of Boston, and of course, all of you. Only with all of you can Trinity Boston Connects positively impact hundreds of adults who work with youth to reach thousands more youth and families across Boston. Reverend Battle, thank you for sharing the power that is restorative justice and the practice of circles. And Latoya, you're like like Tina, it's just Latoya. it's just Latoya. Thank you so much. I'd like all my colleagues to please stand, all Trinity Boston Connect staff to please stand. Thank you so much. Thank you for opening up the possibility for so many young people of color in our city. Thank you for striving to become a more beloved community and working to ensure that at TBC we truly do walk the talk to become a more racially equitable organization in the process. Thank you so much. As we celebrate beloved community, we want to honor those leadership founding donors, many of whom are in the room tonight, who collaborated to firmly establish the Trinity Education for Excellence, or TEEP, program and what was to evolve into our current day organization. We would like to recognize Emily Hood, who passed away in 2020. She was totally dedicated to Trinity Church's outreach efforts in the city of Boston. Her support helped hundreds of TEEP students succeed on their path to adulthood. We appreciate that one of our 2023 BFY sponsors donated in her memory. Trinity Church parishioners Bill and Julie Thompson created the Thompson Lloyd Endowment to help ensure TBC's future. Tonight, I am thrilled to announce that two generous donors have established the Reverend Samuel Lloyd III Memorial Fund to further ensure TBC sustainability. We welcome those of you who would also like to honor Sam to make additional contributions to this memorial fund tonight or at any other time. Your contributions to this fund will allow TBC to deepen our impact on youth within the city of Boston, especially youth of color. I want to now talk about TBC's impact that you are all helping to make possible today. I have to put on my glasses like Latoya. So we know that healing for adults means better outcomes for students. That is why our organizational change pathway is providing racial equity training to managers and executives at Year Up, City Year, Literacy Labs, and Essex County Community Foundation. Our clinical care services for teachers and adults who work with youth, including City Year core members, are impacting over 1,000 Boston Public School students each and every day. Our youth programs, Soul Train and TEEP, are expanding leadership and employability practices through paid summer and school year opportunities for high school students. Clinical supports have been added to address increased mental health needs for both youth and staff, complementing our proven values-based practices for young people. And we're becoming ever more accountable to our investors, working with Seed Impact, our evaluation partner, to develop new and innovative measures of organizational effectiveness and community healing impact on adults who work with youth. TBC has tremendous expertise in creating safe, healthy environments where children can thrive. And with that expertise, we train adults in other youth-serving organizations to do the same. This is only the beginning, and we yearn to find ways to make greater systemic change. So, with whom can we partner to amplify TBC's systemic impact? Personally, I came to Trinity 4 years ago feeling deeply called to answer this question in the next evolution of TBC's healing work. I hope I can count on your generous support tonight to fuel the exponentially amplified impact we know we can achieve together, so that Boston youth are embraced by consistent, healthy behaviors in every aspect of their school day. Tonight, we are thrilled to offer you a taste of what is possible, a glimpse of the Trinity at McCormick program. This distinctive whole school approach to restorative justice is a model we want to expand and replicate many times over with your help. Please welcome my colleague, Sophia Breon-Meisels, Trinity at McCormick's Program Director, to introduce the video segment of our program.
Hello. 10 years ago, we were invited into the McCormick Middle School to help with absenteeism. As we created communities with students, we grew to understand the underlying factors impacting attendance more deeply. Today, the Trinity at McCormick program is a collaborative partnership with the newly merged Boston Collegiate Leadership Academy and McCormick grades 7 through 12. The program's mission is to create a school community that understands, embraces, and supports the holistic needs of each student, specifically focused on young people dealing with the impacts of trauma. We recognize that social, emotional, and academic development go hand in hand, and that creating healing educational communities is critical to providing youth with the skills they need to thrive. Students need more than individual counseling. They need a healing ecosystem, a culture of mutual trust, affirmation, and celebration. With this in mind, we run 3 complementary initiatives: direct clinical support, building a school culture, and creating a village. You'll hear more about each of these initiatives later, But right now, I want to thank the many Trinity Church parishioners who are part of creating the school's library through our village work. Our 3 initiatives exemplify TBC's 3 pathways to healing: clinical care, youth development, and organizational change. Through embedding all 3 pathways in one school, we see the true power of creating healing communities. In a school with a disproportionate number of students managing the impacts of trauma, developing community where students feel seen, heard, and understood is critical. As you will hear in our video, restorative practices is how we work to create this healing environment. These include both community circles to develop relationships and restorative circles to deal with harm. Restorative practices originated from indigenous communities around the world and mean different things for those different communities. TBC defines restorative practices as a flexible set of practices that support a school community to develop relationships that honor everyone's voice, increase understanding, and promote healing and connection in times of stress. The BCLA McCormick community has been my work home for a decade. It has changed me for the better, and it continues to help me grow. I want to thank the Trinity at McCormick team, Myra Gala, Jezebela Sosa, and Adina Davidson, who do their work with joy, curiosity, and love every day. A big thank you to the BCLA McCormick colleagues who are here with us tonight and those who couldn't be here. And the biggest thank you to the students of McCormick, who have taught me far more than I could have ever imagined. The 2 young men you will hear from tonight are currently on a school trip in Costa Rica, and I can't wait to hear about their adventures when they return. Now I'm excited to invite you into the BCLA McCormick School, where you can hear directly from students and staff about our impact there.
In your words, what is a restorative circle and why do we do them?
I think a restorative circle is where people from different cultures and backgrounds within a community can come together and talk about problems. And having that cultural difference can help to get to their solution. And everyone has a voice where they're welcomed and they can make a better life for the community.
Trinity at McCormick is an embedded program here at BCLA McCormick School. We have a clinical program, we have the village, and we have school culture. Restorative justice is a community approach to conflict resolution, community building, relationship building. Our mission here is healing for the whole student and the whole school, and we do that through restorative justice.
Coming home to take care of your siblings and do homework, help them with homework. Maybe mom doesn't have, or dad doesn't have enough money in the house. You have to work yourself. There's a lot of things that we go through that people just don't understand, or they don't understand the extent of it. When I first got introduced to circles in this school, I was not really taking it as seriously. I was definitely goofing around. I thought it as a pushover thing, but over time, it definitely will change. It would take it more seriously. And you say, you know, these guys actually care. They actually want me to do better. They want me to succeed. And in the very short time that I've known Trinity, they have really pushed me to be my best self.
We are a school. We are still looking at instruction. In order to reach our students, you have to have our students in the right place first, mentally in the right place.
As a student myself who has struggled just not doing work, not feeling that academic confidence, circles give you that boost to be like, I can do this.
Academic achievement is directly related to social-emotional learning, and they're both at the foundation of restorative practices here at BCLA McCormick.
Circles have been a great thing for me. It allowed me to express my feelings and my concerns throughout the school, whether it was a huge issue or a little small minor issue around the school. but mainly it's just getting to know each other around the community. I met Trinity when I was in the 7th grade, and I can say they have been the best people to support me in general. They're the ones that run these circles. I've had the most genuine fun in it and understanding my own self and everybody around me. I can use the knowledge that they gave me to pass it down to other grades and show them that we're a community together, we're all friends, we're all family. Normally in circles, we have like specific questions. We pass around the talking piece and students are given as much time as they need. You always have the right to pass, and whatever is in the circle stays in the circle.
A lot of people process pain and trauma differently, so there needs to be a space for that and for people who need that extra push or extra help.
I think adults need to understand that restorative practices in circles should be done proactively and not solely when harm is done. I think if we're going to better support students, we have to not use this as an intervention, but understand that this is a mindset, a way of being, and a way of life. And really put a lot more focus on building community, trust, and relationship.
When I came to McCormick as a teacher, we were sitting in these circles, and I didn't know what restorative justice was, and I was like, I just spent a whole day in these kumbaya circles. I could have been decorating my classroom, I could have been doing anything else, but they have me sitting in these kumbaya circles. As the year went on, we did the community circles every Friday, and then I saw the first conflict that we have. And I saw the other teachers on my team, how they said, okay, let's circle up. And I was able to see how the whole community actually had a conversation about what had happened, what had been broken amongst the trust in the class, and how we were trying to restore that. To see the kids actually communicating with each other. And so that's when my eyes were open, like, oh, this works.
Kids like to be heard. Adults like to be heard, and in that process, we build community and relationships, and really trust. If people are heard, they feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves, and that's what we want.
We know that our voices are working throughout the school, and our changes are being made. I haven't seen so many people just like walking through the halls so happy in a long time, just because of our community together.
I hope to see circles being a lot more frequent because it just brings everyone together.
There is a small group of people called Circle Keepers, and they've been through the training for restorative justice itself. We're expanding that now, working with Trinity as a partner, training us in how to actually run those community circles or how to run restorative circles. It is going to change that school culture itself.
I believe strongly that the model Trinity embodies in terms of restorative justice and practices in our school should be implemented in other schools around the district.
There needs to be a conversation, and this is not as big as it should be. There should be circles in every school. It should be a mandatory thing because it allows everybody, teachers, students, to get the help that they need.
Trinity, they have made a change in this school. You're welcomed here. This is a place where everybody has a voice. We were a broken community, now we're formed together as a whole. We have never been stronger together.
Did y'all see that phenomenal video? And those wonderful students? Man, all right, all right. So good evening. My name is Arthur Collins, and I am the district-wide restorative practices coach for Boston Public Schools. And that was me in the video, as you saw, holding circle. Now in my role, I work in a variety of schools supporting, training, coaching, implementation, along with my colleague right here, Brenda Colston-Lewis. We are known as the mighty RJ team, as we are affectionately called by our supervisors. And we work diligently to ground schools in the foundation of restorative practices with a strong emphasis on community, trust, and relationship building. Our goal is to shift the paradigm from traditional, punitive ways of being to embracing a restorative mindset. And that's really important. I want y'all to understand that. We got to make a paradigm shift. I've had the privilege of working with the Trinity McCormick team for the last 7 years, and their deep commitment to the creation of community and healing spaces for our students has made them a key partner in our work. Implementing and sustaining restorative practices is not easy work. Now I'm gonna say that again. Implementing and sustaining restorative practices is not easy work. But Adina, where's Adina at? Adina Davison, Sophia Breon Mizels, they've helped us do this work. And a mindset shift is huge for many adults, and it can often be hard to grasp without personally experiencing the process. So we like to put the adults through that process of being in circle because, you know, they're better off from working with our kids when they do that. But however, with the support of Trinity, superstars like Adina and like Sophia, they make our work a piece of cake. And I often say in my work that you can't restore what you haven't built. I say this all the time. Hear me when I'm saying this now. You cannot restore what you haven't built. So when you build that trust, you build that community, you're gonna be in a better situation when harm actually does happen. And Trinity has helped to build something that is wonderful and special at BCLA McCormick. Now, as you saw in the video, Trinity is committed to sustaining a restorative culture. It's a school where people ask, what do you need? With a genuine concern. It has been a 10-year partnership between Trinity and BCLA McCormick, and in those years, Trinity has collaborated with the school to train the staff, design weekly circles, and use restorative practices to repair harm after challenging incidents. The partnership between Trinity Boston Connects and the McCormick should serve as a model for our district. They are able to do some phenomenal things because of the staff that they have and the work that they do. And I wish that could be replicated throughout the district. I'm gonna leave you with a short story from a long time ago. And it's about a student named Tony. Tony was one infraction away from an expulsion. But there was one day, the school police officer found Tony with marijuana and he brought him to my office. But instead of exclusion, Tony was offered community and brotherhood. The school police officer said to me, you should put him in your boys group. And that's what we did. We created a plan for Tony. And as the year ended, actually this was a few years into the process because he was a 6th grader and we had him through 8th grade. But as that 8th grade year ended, Tony came up to me and he said something that I would never forget. He said, you were the only men who ever told me that you loved me. And that was profound. But it was through the values of love, I want you to think about this, values of love, trust, forgiveness, and respect. You know, we had repaired what was broken. And today, Tony, he's 20 years older, he's traveled the world, and he now works in that same middle school doing the same work with young people. That is the power of restorative work. I want to thank you for your time, and I hope you all have a great night. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you. I am so excited to be here tonight, Debbie, and part of it, I think, is because I don't think I've ever been this close to both an Emmy and a Miss America tiara on the same stage. And then secondly, I brought my speaking piece up here because I wanted to tell Reverend Battle that in one of our early planning sessions, I was sharing with my colleagues when I first heard about this, that in this grand room with everybody so dressed up, his idea of experimenting with a circle would either be an extraordinary success or a colossal failure. And when I looked at the nervous looks on my table's faces when he described what we were about to do, I fear that I had feared the worst, but I must say it was a tremendous experience just in 10 minutes, being able to share just a little bit of ourselves. I think we captured that sense of community. So, good evening again. My name is Christopher Smart. I have the honor of being the chair of the board of directors of this mighty organization, whose impact ripples far beyond the doors of Trinity Church, far beyond the sidewalks of Copley Square. We all know that these are trying times for our world, for our city, and for our country. And as Charmaine mentioned, the work of Trinity Boston Connects offers a powerful example of what is possible when we engage thoughtfully with one another, as we did at our tables, and when we listen to one another and look for new ways of healing. Think of what you've just heard about from the students and the administrators at the BCLA McCormick School, of what you've just heard from Arthur, about the powerful impact of TBC's work through counseling and restorative justice engagement. Think of the impact that we are having in our other 4 programs and our other 4 core efforts, from Soul Train's running programs in 16 schools and community centers where it operates and connects with the city as an entire community, to TEEP, the Trinity Education for Excellence program, and its powerful influence on a growing community of middle and high schoolers and their families, to the Counseling Center and its vital mental health and wellness services for youth workers, and our organizational equity practice and the crucial difference that it makes on other youth-serving organizations. These are real efforts that deliver real and meaningful change, and they are changing our city for the better every day. They are making a difference. And by the way, they are making a difference because of you and your choice to connect with a mission that makes a difference. Our goal tonight, as you know, is to raise a lot of money. And we are closing in on that goal, both as what you see on the screen, but also I see a lot of envelopes that have already been popped into the boxes at your table there. As if you don't need any more incentive than everything you've heard already and seen this evening, let me just also share that an anonymous donor has agreed to match any donation from $1 to $5,000 tonight that is made tonight. So please think of what you can do to support us tonight. As a wise person once said, don't give until it hurts, give until it feels good. And Debbie is going to tell you how.
Thank you, Christopher. We're getting there. In your program brochure, you will see the Fund a Need giving levels and the impact these programs have on our youth workers, and organizational leaders. This evening is about celebrating the young people you have heard from tonight and the countless others who have achieved important goals through the healing support TBC offers. In fact, the group photo within your brochure features a young woman, her long-term Old Soul mentor, her family members who have also participated in TBC's Soul Train program. Samya is a second-year Mid-Soul mentor and leader, which is a newly created paid employment position for high school students. She and her family would have loved to join us here tonight, but she happens to be graduating from Boston Collegiate Charter School this very evening. Our thoughts and congratulatory wishes are with you, Samya, as you look forward to entering Yale University in the fall. We welcome all levels of support. No amount is too small. Funding of up to $500 supports our efforts at Trinity McCormick. Up to $1,000 supports TEEP and high schoolers like Samya and Micah and Isaiah. $2,500 supports the beloved community at Soul Train. For $5,000 of support, the amazing work at TBC's Counseling Center can continue. For $7,500, contributions to the Scholarship Fund at OEP. And our highest giving level of $10,000 supports the much-needed work the TBC organization is doing under Charmaine's incredible leadership. Everyone has their way of contributing to charities. But as students of Boston Public Schools, myself and my husband have chosen to support TBC in an effort to focus our giving on something that's truly meaningful and important to us. Choose a need that resonates with you and text BFY 2023. If you're having issues with that going through, there's so many people here, just take off your Wi-Fi, use a little bit of data to get that through, and then you can turn your Wi-Fi back on. But if you're getting that little red exclamation mark, that's what's going on there, so please keep trying. Choose a need that resonates with you, use the giving envelopes, and we appreciate all the support you can give. Let's make tonight a huge success. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. This has been a great night. Can I just tell you, there's so many connections here. So just number one, I have to shout you out. You know, I didn't know what type of crowd I was going to be walking into tonight. I have to be honest. I was like, oh boy. But you are absolutely delicious. Can I just give yourselves a round of applause for being loving, engaged, invested? We appreciate you. Thank you. And I see the number keeps rising, 32 donors so far, so I know you're trying. Debbie is our tutorial leader on how to get this money going, turn off the Wi-Fi, send birds in the sky, and bring it back to us. Also, a quick heads up, and I'm trying to, again, let's step into the 21st century here. The address is @TrinityConnects. So take a picture of you and your table, do a selfie, take a picture of me, you know, something so we can just talk about this because we're doing all this work here and we want to shout out Trinity Boston Connect. So we have to do that. Okay, let me stick it to the script. Okay, can't see a thing. Great. Thank you, Debbie and Christopher. Your passionate leadership is palpable. Thanks. Okay. Nice job. But you know what? I do know that it's time to turn our attention to a very special culmination of this evening, the presentation of the Leader of Change Award. Yeah! This will be TBC's 6th presentation of the award to a person who is truly a role model for healing for an equitable Boston and beloved community. We adore Amari Paris Jeffries, don't we? He's humble, he does a lot of work. I met him when I was literally 22 years old, so 2 years ago. It's weird. And even then, it's something about Amari. When he stands up here, he's a cool guy. He's very reliable, but he looks so smart. I'm like, well, tell me something. Then you crack a joke. I'm like, oh, you're just regular. Okay. It's nice. He gave me the honor because, and I was so happy to work with him on a documentary about the Embrace and MLK story with Coretta Scott King. I encourage you to check it out, their love story. We unveiled that in January. You can go to NBC10Boston.com to leave a comment about me, but also to check out that website. But more importantly, he has a whole festival that's coming up next week, and he deserves all the praise, all the love. It's my pleasure to introduce Damon Cox to the stage. Damon is a passionate advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion in tech and innovation after serving as Assistant Secretary for technology for 4 years. He's currently head of Next Practice and Inclusive Growth for Mass Challenge. Damon has known Amari for 25 years. So this is a roast of your life. You didn't know that. No, just kidding. Damon, we're going to welcome you up to the stage right now to do justice to this award and to give this award to Amari. Let's welcome Damon to the stage, everybody.
Good evening, everyone. Wonderful. We're towards the end of the program, so let's keep the energy up if we could. So it truly is a pleasure and an honor to be here with all of you. But thank you, LaToya, and good evening to everyone. Yes, I've known Imari for quite a while, and it is my great honor and pleasure to be with you this evening, celebrating TBC's healing impact on youth of color in this great city. Your amazing work is inspiring. So I'm usually at a podium talking about some new policy or some new technology that's at the top of the news cycle. But I am overjoyed to be talking about one of my favorite human beings on the planet, the newly minted Dr. Imari Parrish Jeffries. Let's have a round of applause for his. He paid a lot of blood, sweat, and tears for those 3 letters, so he deserves all the praise for that. Imari has proven to be a visionary whose advocacy for social justice has reverberated across communities throughout our city, changing the trajectory of lives and challenging the status quo. His commitment to equality, inclusivity, and the pursuit of a better Boston is nothing short of awe-inspiring and directly aligns with Trinity Boston Connect's vision. One cannot speak of Dr. Imari Parrish Jeffries without acknowledging his relentless efforts in the fight against racial injustice. He's fearlessly confronted systemic racism, discrimination, and inequality. Through his eloquent voice and tireless work, he's become a catalyst for meaningful change, leading initiatives that promote racial equality, dismantling oppressive structures, and fostering dialogue that promotes understanding, empathy, and most importantly, action. I was fortunate enough to have worked with him at Boston Rising, and there I saw Imari encourage individuals of all ages with words of confidence or a simple act of kindness. I've collaborated with him to build and cultivate community in the heart of our city, and I've witnessed him question and disrupt inequitable systems, all done with compassion, aplomb, and intentionality. Dr. Parrish Jeffries is like a unique force, a graceful force, although if you've seen him dance, he's not that graceful. He's quick to identify and respond to injustice, but also one to proactively seek out injustice and build the necessary coalitions to design practices to vanquish it. Imari, throughout your illustrious career, you've always been one constant, and that is how you have tirelessly supported our most vulnerable population and our hope for a better tomorrow, our young people. From almost every stage of development, you've worked for or led organizations that have put the support of young people at the core of its mission. It's only natural that Trinity Boston Connects, an organization squarely focused on racial equity and youth of color, recognizes you as their 2023 leader of change. From the board you sit on, as well as how you show up for your own children and your nieces and nephews, my children, it's nothing short of remarkable. You and I always talk about building our village of support and how it's up to us to create the change that we want. And my friend, you talk the talk and you walk the walk. However, not only have you worked to make us be better parents and create stronger families, you most recently gave the city of Boston a great big warm embrace, literally and figuratively, which is, yes, let's applaud that. Which is very fitting because I have learned many things from you, my friend, and one is the power of a hug. If you know Imari, he's hugged you. And to greet or signify a departure, a hug can convey acknowledgement of care, a simple invitation into one's personal space for a moment. And that's what you and your team at Embrace Boston have done in the Commons. The Embrace is a monument that will forever be etched in the history of our city of Boston, a landmark that will be enjoyed for generations to come. And you, my friend, you were instrumental in making that happen. And yes, I said you were instrumental because I know your natural inclination is to attribute all the success to your team, who there are a few members here, and they're an incredible team. But I also know that great effort takes great leaders to rise and to meet the moment. And you, my friend, met the moment, and you continue to rise, so thank you. Now, love of mission has been a driving force throughout your career. You love this city, your adopted city. You love this work, and it shows in everything you do. The mission has been your life thus far and will continue to be. However, a natural evolution has occurred. While the love of mission remains, a mission of love has emerged. Your mission of love, born out of the energy of the Embrace, is just getting started, my friend, and we are all waiting with bated breath to witness it bloom. Through his work, Dr. Parrish Jeffries has shown us that the pursuit of equality and justice is not a solitary endeavor, but a collective responsibility. Let us draw inspiration from his example, and together, let us continue the important work of creating a more just, equitable, and inclusive world for all. Student, teacher, son, father, husband, brother, veteran, friend, best dressed man in Boston. And now, Leader of Change Award recipient, Dr. Imari Parrish Jeffries. It is my distinct pleasure to join Charmaine in presenting the 2023 Leader of Change Award to you tonight. Come on up, my brother.
So proud of you. Imari, throughout your career, you have exemplified a commitment to social justice and racial equity in service to Boston's youth and communities of color. Thank you. Trinity Boston Connects is honored to recognize you tonight. You have to take a picture.
I might have to borrow someone's glasses up here. You really can't see up here. And someone in the back is cutting lemons and onions, so they need to cut that out because my eyes are starting to water. There are a few members of the Embrace Boston team. Could I have them join me up on stage for a minute? This award and this recognition is truly about their work, their efforts, and I want to always shine the light on them. And you know, I think one of the things about this organization, Trinity Boston Connects and Embrace Boston, is that we share a tireless warrior who's sitting right there, Luis. Many of you didn't know. We could clap that up. Luis was one of the first staffers and workers and advocates and activists and chief cook and bottle washers at Embrace Boston back before it was King Boston, back before it was MLK Boston. So she was there 2 names ago. Maybe next time when we change the name to just Boston Boston or just Embrace Grace, she'll come back. And a newlywed, congratulations. Congratulations. You know, it's always humbling to receive any recognition for something that's a part of your DNA, something that's important to you, something that guides your life. Many of you didn't know, but there are about 740 Confederate monuments across this country, monuments built on hate. And so it's no wonder the discourse in our country is that of which it is. We're in the middle of a culture war. There are 10 military bases named after Confederate leaders. Remember duty, honor, country. I don't know what it's like to be on a military base named after folks who didn't understand the definitions of the values of duty, honor, country. You know, there's 7 waterways, 7 bridges, 6 commemorative plaques. But the thing that struck me about all of these Confederate monuments, there's 240 schools named after Confederate leaders. I can't imagine being a young person today to be a black person, a Latino person, an indigenous person, a BIPOC person, a queer person, going to a school named after someone who couldn't even stand your existence. Monuments built on hate. But what makes this honor for me so incredibly important, Trinity Boston Connects has been one of Boston's shining monuments built on love. And so congratulations to Trinity Boston Connect for really being the shining star, really being Boston's first memorial built on love. And we appreciate you, Charmaine, your staff, the board, for all the things that you do to keep our city safe, connected, in this spirit of belonging. You know, when they say when you get a car that you never heard of and all of a sudden you get that car and everybody's driving that car, y'all know what I'm talking about? You're driving down the street, I just got that car. It's funny when you built a monument called Embrace, every other word sounds like embrace. It's like bingo. I think we said embrace 30 times today. So I want to do a little thing before we leave. People always ask me, Mari, how do we memorialize moments? What's the one thing that we can do to keep this work going in our own personal homes? All of us have smartphones. All of us take a lot of pictures in that smartphones, but we're in a generation where we don't print those pictures. And so it's important that you are surrounded by people that you love and that love you in return. So print those pictures, put them in your homes, in your workplaces. And so every day when you look around, when you stop staring at your computer, you see people who love you and you love them in return. So that's one thing that I'm asking you to do today. The second thing that I'm asking you to do, if you feel so inclined, if you're sitting next to someone you want to embrace, let's take a 5-second embrace break. Can you take a 5-second embrace break and just give someone next to you a quick embrace? You guys feel that love? You guys feeling that love of the embrace? You know, one of the things that Christopher said when he was up here is that there was a generous anonymous donor that was willing to match dollar for dollar all the donations that we were able to make tonight. And so with that love of that embrace, I'm asking you to pour that love into one of those envelopes, into that text, BFY 2023, and make sure that we have this organization sustainable into the future. Thank you all tonight. I love you and I appreciate you. Have a great evening.
You see how I said, he looks really smart, Dr. Amari Barrett-Jeffries, and then he just does a little joke. He's so funny. Don't you? I adore him. Amari, we love you. Congratulations. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so Again, I can't see. So for those of you who would like to continue and learn more about what is happening in Boston and to move the needle on diversity, equity, inclusion, please consider attending some of the events of Embrace Fest next week. So many to check out. I know I'm doing leading a concert, but there are so many different conversations. There's a block party. There's so many different things happening. Amari, your team, you're next level. And the fact that I got a hug today, this whole event, I don't know about, it has fed my soul. I just love it. So thank you for staying up and participating. All right, I want to talk about this. Look at this number right now where we hit, oh, it keeps going. So 22,000, at one point we had like $5,000. So I know you have it in you. Dig into your wallet and do a little bit more. Thank you so much. So again, just a reminder, Trinity Boston, I'm looking here, has set a bold vision for the future, focusing squarely on youth, community, and equity. There, of course, deep systemic impact in the city. Text BFY 2023 to 44321, or just visit the website TBC, send a check or a pledge with the envelope, and find out ways to participate, maybe be a mentor. I've been inspired. Do you know, I went to McCormick Middle School. We didn't know that. And the fact that you're doing that work, I'm coming back. We've already exchanged numbers. And so I'm inspired to do that. I just happened to land here. There's no coincidence. God put me here to connect with your team at the McCormick and be a volunteer. So thank you for that. I hope you find ways to volunteer with TBC. Okay, let me just continue. We're almost done. Remember, this Saturday night, really, it's on a Thursday, a Saturday night, okay? So you're not tired. You're just getting your next wind. All right, it says we can now embrace beloved community, live it further through a post-reception because it's Saturday night, all right? Please join us in the reception room to my right. You can take advantage and enjoy the DJ that's gonna be there. There's dancing, there's a photo booth, past hors d'oeuvres, or just an opportunity to conversate. I, for one, will be in there. I have an Achilles injury, so I'm gonna put my sneakers on. I'll join you on the dance floor, okay? Thank you to tonight's sponsors and guests, all of you for making the gathering of beloved community possible tonight. Many thanks to you and those who created such a deeply moving and educational gala. Charmaine Higgins, TBC's development, Charmaine, number one, you have a phenomenal organization. Thank you for all you do for showing up for the city of Boston and beyond. Thank you. The development and communications team, Sheila, you are next level. You put together a great program. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to quickly shout out Daisy Guzman, Shakira Floyd, Allison Lewis, Juma Ennis, Valette Graham, and the entire TBC staff and host and BFY committees and the board of directors. Thank you for your teamwork, your expertise. We love you so much. Have a great night. We'll see you next year.